identify yourself?
With a bomb.
I'm here.
Literally.
It helps me get my groove on.
Listen up, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Boom Radio.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is definitely the boombar on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Shola Rogers.
My name is Oladoko. Sorry for the voice. I don't know.
This keeps happening to me.
Okay. I don't know what exactly is
I
happening.
apologize.
So, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the boombar, like you said, on the Boom Radio NG. And we bid you a welcome to the bar this very interesting afternoon. It's a brand new week. And we're starting the week with brand new ministers. You know, very interesting take. And maybe I would say that SR should stop joking about some things. Because in the past week or two, everything it seems to joke about before the weekend ends up happening. And you'll be wondering what exactly it is. I remember on Friday we were talking about this and about how the new ministers were definitely going to be sworn in today. But I was like, you never know, there could be another cabinet shuffle. Like we shouldn't put them out like exactly what they are, what they would be. And I was like, oh, that's very. But apparently, Mr. Tinubu had other plans. Well, we're also going to talk about in most of the states in Southwest, it is Shashe Day. It is actually a public holiday in most of the states. So we'll see a little bit about it, how it's going, and what's the point of it actually? Is it really worth it at the end of the day? So that and a few other things, there are definitely a lot of things. If time permits us, hopefully we might be able to get to a bit of sports. Officially, the Women's World Cup is over. We'll do a bit of review.
Sad.
On that, there are also rankings according to the Women's World Cup that has been out. Very interesting rankings actually. That piece of news. Also, there's a lot of football that happened: the Premier League, the Bundesliga, the La Liga, the MLS. You know, over the weekend. So that we will be able to hopefully we'll be able to crush between now and the end of the hour.
That's what it is.
So let's get right into it. Let's start with the fact that Nigeria now officially has new ministers. The ministers have been sworn in by the Chief Justice of Nigeria in the presence of the president today. But that is not the interesting news. The interesting news is that, if I'm correct, yesterday there was sort of a little cabinet reshuffle.
How do you reshuffle a cabinet that doesn't exist?
Everybody
that has used that phrase, I have waited for this moment to call them out. How do you reshuffle a cabinet that does not exist? Or that did not exist as at that time?
Reshuffled whatever it
So
is that he calls
basically
it.
it's just to reassign and realign, the ministerial assignment list, you see?
What's wrong with you?
Oh, no, I'm too much.
I don't understand. What is
So, of course, interesting times ahead for us. Now, I have clamored for this list to come out. I've been on everybody's case about it because one of the things that we need to realize is that we need to get on with governance. And it's teamwork. One man can't do it. So you must assemble the best team. And if they do well, Congratulations to you. If they do badly, shame to you, shame on you, shame with you, you know. And if they do badly, Nigeria also suffers another setback.
Yeah.
So for this reason, I also wanted to see how the balancing act will be done, the ability to satisfy the yearnings of every state as it concerns getting one minister minimum, and of course the ability to balance that with the yearnings of the political class. And it's interesting how this list has turned out. Of course, there's no perfect list anywhere. Even in football, when a coach brings out this list, there'll still be critics. So a lot of people have criticized, some have
I
praised.
just have a problem with the fact that why are we going back and forth?
Yes, it's still part of tweaking, and it hasn't broken any law. It hasn't done anything contrary to the rules of engagement when it comes to selecting or appointing ministers. So of course you would expect that some things could happen. I think a lot of things are being mixed up. Like the idea is to cook something that would try to satisfy a lot of people, and it's difficult to do that. But I think that they're doing okay. But I still have a problem with not having a sports technocrat on their team.
Officially there's no there's no minister of youth anymore.
There's going to be.
Not that there's
none at the moment.
At the moment, there's no minister of youth. The engineer Baka Momo, who was the minister of youth, has now been moved to the minister of Niger Delta Development. It's something that we had talked about, that there was no designation for that at the last list, and now, and I'm wondering, like, okay, so what changed? Because I remember there was a memo talking about how the NDDC was going to be moved to the office of the secretary to the government of the federation. So,
I in the area of a youth minister, there was some pushback by people, and they were talking about how the person that was chosen is in his 50s, which is arguably one of the youngest youth ministers I've seen in this country, and how they should have chosen someone much younger and all of that. And, there are speculations as to who is going to be the Minister of Youth. It's most likely going to be a member of the APC, most likely their national youth leader. A lot of people are pointing to the fact that he might be, in line to become minister. A lot of people are saying it. This is just a rumor that I am discussing with you guys. I don't have a source. I do not have any. I'm just saying what is being said out there on the streets. So that might fit the bill, him being extremely young and having performed in that position.
Makes sense.
So
my fear with that also is that being a minister, I know that those things, I still feel that being a minister should take a bit of, especially with the precarious situation Nigeria is in now, we do not need trial and errors.
Sadly, we will always have trial and errors from now to the end of time. Regardless of how experienced people are, there will always be people. Because, again, there will be cabinet reshuffles. Look at the reassignment now. The maritime industry, the maritime and blue economy ministry.
Yeah, has now been moved to Olubumi Tunji-Ojo.
He's been removed from there.
He's been removed from there. He's been moved to Adegboye Tola, who was Minister of Transportation.
You get it.
And Olubumi Ojo is now the Minister of Interior. Still don't understand. Seidu Alkali is now the Minister of Transportation. And I'm still wondering, I know that there is a deadline. There was a deadline to submission of lists and all that, and I get it. But I will still say that, are we saying that after the elections, up until inauguration and 60 days after inauguration was not enough time?
Historically,
to pick.
Historically, and what this government did last week was unnecessary. Releasing the ministerial portfolios was unnecessary. Historically, ministers have been they've been sworn in without portfolios. It's later that the portfolios are now announced or assigned.
Okay.
So
when you
I think
announce-
they're the first.
when you announce sworn in, what do you do? How do you? Okay, it's
Nobody is sworn in as Minister of Sports.
Yeah,
Do you
I get
understand?
what you're saying. I'm
The
just saying
swearing
that.
in is a
So when
ceremonial.
you're done swearing in that day, then that's when you're now.
Yeah,
giving-
then they can now announce the assignment of portfolios after their first meeting.
So maybe there was no need to announce
That's
it
what I'm saying.
up until
That-
they were done.
If you go check, most of the other
arranging.
yeah, most of the other ministerial lists, there was no need.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. Also, there's now the ministers of state of oil and gas sector, which they've both now been on. They are now under the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, and now we now have two ministers of state, one for oil and one for gas. We still don't have a minister, according to
The senior minister.
senior or no, there's this English that they use in this administration now. Coordinating minister of oil and gas.
Oh, we've had coordinating ministers in other administrations too.
Never.
Coordinating minister of the economy, I think it was Kojo Wiala or something one time like that. So it's actually not a new.
So that we still don't have,
New
and there's
thing.
still no minister of youth yet, and one or two things. So it's still looking like there's still going to be maybe one or two other announcements, but
There will be. They already said that was going to happen.
but I think that it's high time that work really needs to start.
Yeah, work has actually started. Just like during the inauguration, there was going to be a photo session and some kind of meeting and all of that afterwards. But the president had mentioned that work starts now. And true to type, the president of Abuja, it was actually an honest mistake.
Seriously.
Honest
Seriously?
mistake. It was an honest mistake.
Okay, I hear you.
The president of Abuja, the minister of Abuja,
The coordinating minister of Abuja, because
Minister.
there are two.
the minister Gongo, the real
The
minister.
original one.
You see, the president, that other one can be vice president of Abuja. Yenson Wike has already hit the ground hit the ground running.
What did he do?
So he already scheduled a meeting with the media, and he had his first ministerial briefing, ministerial broadcast. And during this
We are in for
ministerial broadcast
seriously.
in Abuja, Yenson Wike reeled out the Riot Act. Like, let me say for one, he said green parks and green areas must be restored. So if you are running a restaurant or whatever on a green area, I'm sorry for you. He said,
Oh my God.
if you got land from the FCT at a certain amount and you kept the land prospecting and now you want to sell it for billions, I'm sorry for you. We're going to take our land back.
Okay.
He said, if your mother or your father bought land and built out and they are not paying their tenement and rent rate and everything to the government, I am sorry for you. You can imagine. I'm actually more or less quoting
the funny
Wiki
thing
verbatim.
If anybody that likes themselves will know that, okay, former Governor Wike is not joking.
He said that's the job he has been brought to do, and he's going to do his job. That if you rented a house or you rented an apartment, don't you know you're supposed to pay rent? So for those of you who are owing tenement rates and everything, I am sorry for you. Those were his words in a nutshell. There was more, and I like the drama.
Abuja people.
I like the drama that Wike brings, but we must always look at things in perspective. Like, be honest.
Was
with
he really lying? Do we not need our green areas back?
There's a master plan for the city of Abuja, and what is just going to basically do is to restore the master plan. And
everybody, a lot of people, I won't say everybody, a lot of people hated at some point, but also to a large extent commended the former governor of Kaduna State when he was
in charge
FCT.
of Abuja.
Yeah,
When he was the
everybody
president of
when
Abuja.
he was president of Abuja, because it was the fear of El Rufai that was beginning of wisdom then. Yeah, and if Wike is going to get Abuja back to that era where everything was in place just because one man had said, you know what, we're doing things the right way. I don't think it's a bad idea at the end of the day.
I don't think it's a bad idea. Two, then he might actually be coming for the PDP indeed. Because I didn't say he is, but at this rate, if I even said if you have a building that you have not finished,
completed after a number of years. it's
sorry
coming
for you.
down.
you know, but the thing is, if we really want things to get better, we must do a lot of things by the book. We must do some things outside the book.
We can't want saner climbs, or we can't be talking about saner climbs if we don't do things the proper way. Let's call it spade a spade. A lot of things we see around, and would I say even governors and even the presidency over the years have let go, is because of a lot of times even politics. They've put in politics into where don't let us offend some people, so let's just leave these things. We can't continue like that if we really want the development we're asking for.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and one of the things that I was going to draw a parallel with the immediate past president is that I've said it more than once. His biggest strength was also his biggest weakness. His biggest strength is in appointing people, giving them assignments, and giving them a free hand. It would allow you function. We all saw it. A lot of people didn't get it, but that was his style. But that also was a bad thing in the sense
that wanted to work, it was a very good opportunity
exactly,
for them to work.
Exactly.
Yes, I agree.
So but in the case of this president now, he's known to not necessarily micromanage, but to get involved and to supervise, and to really let you understand what he wants. He will let you walk too, but he will be on your case. Now, what Nigeria really needs now is not a list of 4 or 5 ministers, because that's what we've had for a long time, where you have a list of 4 or 5 ministers who are doing very well.
And then the rest are just practically dormant. They're just there just because.
That's not what we want.
Just because we want to fill in a quota.
Yeah.
I get your point. We
need all of them, performing optimally. And looking at the way some of these ministries are being restructured, like I was advocating for a ministry of pharmaceutical and drugs, because it's another angle that has been neglected a lot through the years.
I agree.
You get people think that when they say health is about vaccination or some of this other things that we see on the regular, but health is a massive value chain that we need to tap into and grow. Nigeria needs to be in a situation where we're producing and we're harnessing our local content, especially in health too. And we do the same thing for all the ministries and subsectors, and of course things will just get better from there.
Okay, now moving on from that. So congratulations to the new ministers. It's nice to congratulate you all. It's just that we're waiting for a lot of things that are going to happen. We hope that you hit the ground running and we see a lot of changes quickly. So moving on from that, and then let's talk about Isese Day. So for people that do not understand what that is, it basically is supposed to be a public holiday. The way we have Christian holidays for Christians, Christmas, Easter holidays. We have Muslim holidays. We have the Ramadan. We have the Eid al-Kabir, if I'm not sure, or Eid al-Fitr. One of the, what's in the Southwest we call Ileya. We have all those holidays. But there isn't anything really for traditional worshippers. And according to governors in the Southwest, because the truth is that some of these people, a lot of people clamoring for these things are really in the Southwest. Yeah? And they have now decided 4 out of 6. In fact, some of them have even passed it as laws now as August 20th to be Isese Day on a yearly basis. And it's now, I I think it was Ogun State that started that in legislation or something like that. So it's now a public holiday, and seems to be like a lot of people are on public holiday too.
Yeah, 4 states out of 6, like Dolupo mentioned, that's Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, and Osun State. Now, if you look at the composition of the parties that govern those states, it's not one party. There are 2 APC governors, 1 PDP governor, and two PDP governors. So I almost said Labour in Osun, but I take it back. So, and there are 2 other states that have not said anything. I'm thinking that maybe because in Ondo State, maybe the acting governor does not want to take
such a decision.
But we'll see how that one will pan out. While the new governor of Ekiti is still probably trying to acclimatize and understand the whole situation before they plunge into it. Now, it is instructive for us to talk about Isese Day. I am a Yoruba person first before I'm anything, and I understand that a lot of people have misgivings about Isese. They have looked at the traditional practice, traditional mode of worship as fetish and as evil and as dirty and all sorts of negative appellations and descriptions. But I don't. I see that God is God. You can't fight for him. You cannot defend him. It is not your job. Your job, is to work out, as a Christian, to work out your own salvation. They even put fear and trembling there. Abi? As Muslims, there are, tenets of Islam that you're supposed to keep to.
Yeah.
And I believe that if you go to other countries, they don't even have our so-called major religions.
They don't.
Existence.
So we don't even have too much holidays.
If you look at China, for instance, they don't have many Christians or many Muslims. They have Buddhists and other religions. And even historically, some of these religions are older than the major religions in Nigeria. So if you open your mind and look at it that way, you will understand why it is okay to allow people to make their choices. As long as your choice does not impede them and their choice does not impede you. As human beings, we should allow people make their choices, because at the end of the day, it's the way you lay your bed that you will lie on it, So whether you agree or not, especially in the Southwest, and when I say Southwest, as far as Kogi State and even Kwara, the Yorubas are there in large numbers, and they have been practicing their Isese.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of in fact, it's fighting in Kwara.
In Kwara over this particular
a lot of
one.
things are happening in Kwara. There's a large chunk of Muslims who believe that they don't want to see anything like Isese in. There's a river that they're supposed to have their worship, and they say they don't want them there. They say they're going to go to another part, and it's also, a lot of things are happening. But I've been in Kogi State before, where there was Oro.
Yeah.
On a Monday, there was Oro. Do you understand? So that's Isese too. So a lot of people will tell you many things, and whatever they say, it doesn't mean they are wrong, and it doesn't mean they are right. It doesn't mean that everything I have said is wrong or right too. It's just my opinion that I do not intend to impede anybody's religion or anybody's beliefs.
Yeah,
and I hope that you don't do
you
that
don't
to
as
me
well.
too.
Also adding to the fact, reading a statement from Ekiti State Commissioner of Information, the governor had not announced it, but that Isese Day is something that is done in different towns in Ekiti State. So the people that it applies to will still go ahead and celebrate their day, holiday or not. And the government is not going to stop them from doing that. Now, for me, when it comes to this, is that everybody has, number one, you should be tolerant with everybody's religion and beliefs. Another thing for me, I'm even looking at it from the angle of holidays. fair is fair. When it comes to Christians, when it comes to Muslims, we are there are a lot of holidays that is being taken. Because yes, you say that a majority and all that. Yes, I agree. If we go by that angle, then everybody else should be able to have holidays. The downside to this for me is that more people with different religions, because there are actually a lot more religions than just Christians, Muslims, or traditional worshippers. Even with traditional worshippers, they're still branched out into different beliefs and all that. So the downside for me is that this is literally opening a can of everybody wants a holiday. Left to me, I already think we have too many holidays. I feel a lot of our holidays needs to be scrapped. I'm sorry. A lot of there's nothing we're using. What's it called? Easter Monday and Good Friday and all that. You don't have to not go to work to celebrate those things. That's my own opinion. Where you don't have not. There's the major celebration happens on Sunday, which is an Easter Sunday, which is a Sunday anyway. You don't have to do those things. I know for a fact that in Nigeria, the Ileya that is celebrated, that is 2 days, is literally celebrated in 1 day. I know that it was a lot more of politics and all that made them increase those holidays to 2 days because, okay, the Christians also have 2 days and all that. I think that we need to cut down on our holidays in the first place. I don't think we should be adding to it. But if you're going to keep some people's holidays, you can as well give everybody a holiday.
You know, and when there's a Christian holiday, everybody gets to celebrate their own way. You don't necessarily have to
celebrate,
partake.
but you're going to sit at home.
Yeah, you don't have to partake in the Christian feast
celebration, but you are enjoying.
You partake in the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
When there's a Muslim celebration also, and there's a public holiday, the same thing happens to non-Muslims because they also partake of the holidays. So the Isese Day, whether you like it or not, whether you support it or not, at state level, now that it's now entrenched in the laws of the land, you will also stay at home while the people who want to do Isese. They started actually at the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were activities in different parts of Lagos. In Lagos Island, the king of Lagos, or Oba of Lagos, king of Lagos sounds funny.
It's actually the Oba of Lagos.
So the Oba of Lagos, you know, of course, his palace was the epicenter of some of the activities that were carried out. I just want us to be able to strike a balance between preserving culture and tradition while allowing everybody breathe. You know, let the people
breathe at this point. Okay, let's move on from that quickly. And let's move on to something else. As there are a lot of, what's the word now? Security stories that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
We're going to read quickly, see how much of it we can breeze through. Now, before we move from that, the army is now probing the killing of driver by persons in military uniform in Lagos. So I know that I think this started with, is he a senator that had talked about how there was one Mr. Lawal who was said to have been killed by some persons in military uniform on the 17th of August.
Yeah, I don't know if this is related to the violence between the state traffic management agency, LASMA, and some members of the Nigerian Army.
I think those were...
No, I'm just saying that I don't know if it is related.
Yeah.
But I know that they settled it and they've had meetings with the leaders of both the Army and the Traffic Management Agency in Lagos, and they've all agreed to work together and live together and everything. Because what I saw was appalling, where they got physical. And a few hours after, some soldiers went on rampage. They made these videos by themselves, but they were smart enough to not show most of their faces,
yeah.
in their response to their reprisal attacks on LASMA officers. And these are things that you don't want to see. You don't want to see this in the public space. So if by extension the mother or I don't know if it's whatever name you want to call it now of this man is related in any way, or it's just a fallout, or it's just a standalone
No,
thing.
it's a standalone thing. This is completely...
If by extension, we want to really look at it, we need, and if they find out that they are soldiers, we need to be honest with ourselves. This will not be the last of such incidents, because it's difficult to have people who are, empowered and trained, co-mingle in a situation where they have clashes with people who are not as powerful as they are,
But
in physique and all of that. So again, I always feel that at times we need to look at the original plan of the army and the location of their places of abode. The biggest barracks, I think, in Nigeria and by extension in Africa, is Ojo barracks, which is on the way to Badagry. And
Okay.
if you notice, many years ago, that was the outskirts. The barracks at Ikeja, when it was built, Ikeja was more or less the outskirts of Lagos. You get. And there's a reason for these things. Most barracks then were being constructed at places where, were supposed to be like on the periphery, so that civilians could be in the center and the barracks would be like some kind of protection for them too and all. I think that we might need to relocate some barracks in certain cities in Nigeria. It might be, what's this one saying? But I'm being very honest, and I'm being very real here. Soldiers should do their soldiering inside their barracks. When you live in the barracks, you live in your mufti. We're not at war. You're not supposed to come to town in combat gear and rifles and guns and all sorts of things when it's not as if you're on official duty anyway. We see this a lot.
We see it a lot. But
A
I
lot.
was going to go back to what happened with the LASMA people. I know that we'll say that the rules of engagement is we see it a lot where maybe something happens with the army. They almost always come back to to come and do like some form
their
of show of
reprisals.
force
Oh, yeah.
and all that. But let's call it spade a spade. What were those LASMA people thinking? Are you joking? Like, what were you thinking? What did you think was going to happen? I think that the provocation in the first place, let's even start from there. Who do you think you are that is soldiers that you feel that it is? Have you finished your duties as a traffic official? Like, are you joking? The issue I have with the army in their own is that they should be a bigger person. I do not see a reason why those soldiers could not file a proper report or a complaint to the police
You don't understand.
or the Lagos State government. I don't know why they won't.
They will never do that. The mentality of the military in Africa, majorly in Nigeria, is
You can't take advantage. So you mess up once.
they stand
They finish. They finish
immediately
you.
to respond.
They finish
And that's
you.
why I took it a step further to say, don't be a soldier in a civilian setting. You're soldiers and you're trained, for combat, for battle, for everything. And so let that be within the barracks, or let it be for when you go on missions. And look around you, ask how it's been done in other parts. It's not every time you're going to see people, except they're in transit. You see people, maybe they are going home after a tour of duty or something. That's when you really see them in their fatigues. But the next day, they're out in their civilian clothes. It doesn't take away the fact that they are soldiers.
Soldiers, yeah.
And when you're in your civilian clothes, you understand that then you have to be civil. You don't have to be combative. And I think that is the thing. A lot of people might not agree with me. It's fine. But soldiers, not just the army now, I'm talking about the entire military. We look at us, look at our mentality. We're so damaged by the military having so much power that you need to go and look. Some people need to go and look for stickers, and some insignias and symbols that typify power. So it started with people, getting something from soldiers. Maybe you have a beret or some belt or something, and you see them, they put it on the dashboard.
I think they've even outlawed those things now, that if you are caught and you are not...
if you are not a military person. But that thing now trickled down to, guess what? You now see lawyers hanging their collars. Oh, you don't see it?
Yeah, we see all
You see doctors hanging their stethoscopes on their rear view mirrors. You know why everybody's doing that? To say, this is who I am. So that even when they get stopped by the police or you see them in traffic, you must respect them and look on them a certain way. We are so caught up in this power show that it also drives the way we interact with people. But soldiers are gentle people because they train them to be professional. And I know that they are combative when they have to be, but they must now take it a step further. And, if you're going to integrate into the society, then blend in. It even means you're a bigger person, really and truly.
I think that they really should look into that way of making proper complaints when other security officials decide to be unfortunate. Because personally, I think those Lasma people were unfortunate. You cannot not be unfortunate to want to fight a soldier. That's my own opinion. Anyway, let's move on from that. As the DSS, they made a few arrests over the weekend. That they announced the arrest of the NDLEA. Now, there's an update on. Remember, the DSS had announced that there was going to be an NRC. They had told the NRC that it looked like there was...
The Nigerian Railway Corporation, for those of you who are wondering what NRC is.
That there was a form of attack that was going to happen with the Abuja train, Abuja-Kaduna train. Now, according to a source, I said that the manager and a few people in the office have been arrested by the DSS.
Well, first things first, when we talked about this last week, you actually voiced your disdain. And then I've seen a lot of people make this comment like, why did that thing come out in public and everything? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, at times you release information, to startle the people who are targeting you and let them know you are onto them and whatever. Because there are different methods of, fighting crime. However, it is obvious that this was not a leak or a release from the security arm, the DSS or SSS or police or army, Navy, Air Force, whoever. It is actually a porous system within the railway corporation. And a lot of people have been thriving on this. We've seen it even that it's crept into the four walls of the presidency, where internal memos are leaked, to the media or to social media, and all sorts of things have happened after that. I like the fact that they're following up on this, and maybe it will stop all these leakages, at least in the railway corporation, before they, spread it to other parts of governance. Because
there was a leaked memo. Somebody needs to explain how it got leaked. I totally agree with you. Let's move on. Okay, you know what? Let's staying with the DSS. There are a few people in the last couple of weeks, few high-profile people that they are in the custody of the DSS, and one of them is the former suspended EFCC boss. Now that I'm thinking about this, actually, EFCC boss too. Until I actually saw this headline this morning, I didn't even remember that he was still there, and there is no conversation. This was brought up by Femi Falana saying that when are they actually going to charge him? Like,
Yeah,
why are you still-
it's been talking about. He talked about it last week also. I think this is is stepping up this campaign now, and I totally agree with.
I do. I think I do.
Mr. Falano, SAN. I totally agree with him because we're a nation of laws, and at times, even if you don't like someone or you feel a certain way about someone, does not mean that you should look away when the wrong thing is being done, because when it might happen to you too, and there will be nobody to speak for you
Yeah.
too, because
We should
the
do things by the book.
the powers that the DSS and the rest of these bodies have are more or less supreme. Like, they're so powerful that they can do virtually anything. But they also know that they are limited by certain laws. And in their refusal to follow these laws, it is a bad sign, for Nigeria as a country of laws. If you want to hold him, you know that there are ways to hold him legally. You understand? And by now,
I feel like
by
he should have
now,
been charged by
for
now.
the period that you've held him, you must have found something. And if you haven't found
There's
something,
a reason why you're still holding him.
if you haven't found something,
Yeah.
then you have to let the
Let
man
him
go until you have enough. Well, now that there's a minister of justice who had said during his own presentation to the Senate, the Nigerian Senate, during the screening, that things are supposed to be done in a certain way. Like, you're supposed to investigate first
Exactly.
before
And
arrest.
And I'm sure that for someone
maybe we're going to
him
get that now.
has been in the private sector for so long, as a lawyer, and he's probably been on the other side of this, maybe we'll see a difference in these things. I agree with the fact that maybe he might have done a lot of wrong things. I literally did not remember until I saw this headline, like, oh, wow. There was even a conversation about Emefiele and all that, but nobody has said nothing about it. I think he's wrong. I think he's completely, totally wrong. Now, let's move on from that. Let's move on to another security agency. The NDLEA is now in the news again, where a stop and search operation by the operatives of this agency along the Lokoja-Abaji Highway led to the discovery of counterfeit $20 million.
Can you say that again?
$20 million.
Fake, Abby?
Yeah, that a 53-year-old driver was arrested. Said one Jude Umbusi, a 52-year-old, was also arrested in FCT. But anyway, there was a driver and 53-year-old who was the driver of the vehicle that had such counterfeit. But my question is, okay, is it that they're planning to spend it as original? I'm guessing.
Look at you now. What was that? Are you trying to be funny now?
I'm just saying, Ibu shall be coming down. Anyway, also, the NDLEA has also recovered about 4.8 billion naira worth of drugs from a wanted billionaire's Lagos billionaire's warehouse. 8 billion.
4.8 billion naira worth of opioids.
Yes.
These are very dangerous and destructive hard drugs.
Yeah, it said that it was seized at a warehouse tucked amidst the Alaba International Trade Fair Complex.
Oh, wow. Now, the trade fair complex is actually, that particular one is known for spare parts, and all of that. It's a thriving. I've been there a couple of times to purchase vehicle parts and everything. It's a thriving business and all.
Listen, like you just said, during the operation that lasted hours, suspect Paulinus Ujuku, who is supposed to be the chief security officer of the wanted drug baron, who parades himself as the automobile's spare parts dealer, was arrested.
Yeah. So, of course, it's a smart way to hide drugs and everything. But again, it also sheds a terrible focus and light on the people who are doing legitimate business in that market.
In that market, yeah.
And there are a lot of Nigerians there who are actually conducting their businesses legitimately. And these are the issues. Again and again. Money has driven people to the point where they don't even care about anything else other than to have it and have it in large, chunks of it, large quantities. So you have drugs worth 4 point something, street value of 4 point something billion. And you now see this guy flexing on social media or
And
at
then
a
you now
party.
be thinking,
You now
my
be saying that you did not do well because but you don't know what the people are up to. So this is me saying I hope that they punish this guy with the law, and also those of us who are working honestly, I hope that we get what we deserve, which is also very good success as they catch up with criminals like this person, allegedly criminals like this person, allegedly.
Yeah, back again. You just remember.
Allegedly. They say we should be using allegedly.
Okay. Quickly, let's move on to Kano State, where the police have now banned protests. Basically, there's been protests here and there because of the tribunal. I think that there's a lot of stress that is being put on the judiciary at the moment, and I'm hoping that it dies down. I'm hoping that all this, well, as much as I was looking forward to the judicial angle of the elections after post-judicial issues, I didn't think that it was going to be this serious. I did not think that people were going to go this far.
So, who has banned protests in Kano?
Please.
The Nigerian police force.
Yes.
There's a reason why I asked that question for emphasis, because we must understand, like, the chief security officer of the state is one of the people who is in court.
Mm-hmm.
And in Kano, it's a very precarious situation. The NNPP has a massive followership, the Kwankwasiya movement. The APC also have a massive followership.
Yeah.
These two people are led by Ganduje and Kwankwaso, who used to be friends and brothers. They even worked together, until they are falling apart and all of that. They are the ones that the police should be talking to. The leaders are the ones that you should be talking to. By banning the processions, yes, it's good. But when you ban things, it's just on paper. It's just go now and speak to their leaders to make sure that no matter what the judgment is, make sure that your people behave. That's one. Two, they need to take their proactiveness up another level by stationing, their people, their, troops in strategic parts of Kano. Because announcing a ban is like that annual ban that they announce of knockouts and bangers. And trust me, when you come to Nigeria on the 24th of December and the 31st of December, you will think you are in a war front. And those things are banned.
Yeah.
But they are still imported into this country.
Into the country, yeah. Anyway, let's move on from that quickly, and we'll see whatever happens in Kano State. Quickly, let's go on as I think there was an announcement by Niger Republic over the weekend about the junta saying that they were going to have a 3-year transitional plan. And I saw it, I'm like, are you joking?
It's what we've talked about here, and I'm glad that they've finally shown their hands. They've been hiding and playing all sorts of games, trying to gain ground and buy time for themselves. At the weekend, they announced a recruitment of volunteers for their force, and the stadium was jam-packed. Like, Nigerians, turned out en masse to join what I'm going to call a ragtag army, because it's funny how they think it's just about numbers.
I don't understand that.
Now, this is a war that I have been advocating against. I don't want this war, but it looks like it's going to happen.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to happen, as ECOWAS has now said that they are not accepting such a plan.
If you go and look at
3 years.
if you go and look at Nigeria in 1998, I think it was 98, if I'm not mistaken, 97, 98, we were in transition again, and General Abdulsalami Abubakar, who incidentally went to meet with the junta a few days ago, took over the reins as, I think he was a most senior officer then. I think it was after Abacha died.
Yeah.
And he made a pronouncement. Within the space of a year or so,
And he stuck to it.
Nigeria actually returned to this democracy that we've had since 1999. It does not take 3 years. It doesn't. Let's say you don't believe in Bazoum and you don't want him back for whatever reasons.
There will be elections.
It doesn't
There's
take
no big deal.
3 years to organize another credible election. It does not take 3. In
It
fact,
doesn't even take 6 months.
it doesn't if you are serious. But of course, you want to perpetuate yourself in power, then become a civilian head. That's what these guys are going to do. You're going to see them. They want to hold power, and in the space of 3 years, he will now resign. Then when he resigns, he will put one of his cronies there. Then he will or he won't even put any. He will just contest and win.
Contest. I beg.
You know. Then he starts to wear agbada. He will not wear the suit anymore or the military fatigues anymore. Then he becomes a president.
And he makes it like that.
It's not what we were hoping for. I was hoping that these guys were actually really, up to rescue their country.
Sadly, it's almost like it's the same thing.
They just want power.
Single time.
They just want power.
It's the same thing every single time. Now it's not looking.
So Niger now is looking like it's going to be some action there.
Yeah.
And this is something that scares me a lot, not because of the capacity of the ECOWAS military led by Nigeria, but because of the aftermath and the after effect of that military action.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on from that, there are a few things happening around the world. Sadly, there are major wildfires in Greece, also in Spain. There's a lot of fires also happening in Washington in the United States. There's Hurricane Hillary happening in Mexico. It's a lot. It really is a lot happening around the world at the moment. Our prayers are with each country.
Global warming.
It's in Japan,
climate
in
change.
China. It's dealing with typhoons and floods and all that. It's serious. The death toll in Maui is still rising. It's a very very
man must start to study how to combat these things. We call them natural disasters. I get it, but we must start to study how we can maybe control or limit the impact of the effect of all these natural disasters. We need to start studying it.
Okay, now let's move on to a little bit of sports before we go. We have a bit of 8 minutes and we might be able to do a few. First things first, looks like the Super Falcons have made a very strong impression at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup as according to FIFA, there were final tournament rankings that was released today, and obviously Spain was number 1, England number 2, Sweden number 3, Australia number 4, Japan number 5, France number 6, Netherlands number 7, Colombia number 8, USA number 9, Nigeria number 10, Denmark number 11, Morocco number 12. Imagine Nigeria is definitely way ahead of Germany, Brazil, Portugal, all the Argentina, all the clubs, teams that you would have thought that would have done really well at the Women's World Cup. But looks like the Super Falcons definitely did something, and they did something beautiful.
Yeah, once again, congratulations to the Super Falcons. They did us proud. And that was after playing only 4 games. Imagine if they had played the 5th, 6th,
beautiful.
and 7th game.
Definitely very, very beautiful. Also, we know for a fact now that Spain had defeated England.
Whoop, whoop.
It would have been a 2-0 incident, but...
I want to quickly praise myself. I want to congratulate myself for calling it and calling. When you go live on TV, I was on Channels TV on Friday. I said it here. I think I said it before we went or something, but I've always said that, I'm the new octopus, something.
Oh, okay.
But whatever it is, whether I called it, I said Sweden was going to win and they won. I said Spain was going to win against all odds. Fancy a team that had played each other 11 times. England had won 6 times. The Spanish had won only twice. There were 3 draws.
Part of me feels like the English team went in a little bit more confident.
Yeah, because they defeated them recently at the Euros.
Ago. I felt that Spain were the ones that had something to prove, and they definitely proved it.
Again, people must realize it. The Spanish team is peopled by players that won
Won the
the Champions League.
yes.
About 9 of them
Yes.
from one team.
One team.
What do you expect?
Exactly.
And even the same team, 2 of them are in the English side of things. So you must look at those things and look at Salma Parriello, the 19-year-old prodigy. Then Bonmati, the Ballon d'Or winner. There are 2 Ballon d'Or winners in the Spanish team. Then Olga, the captain, sadly she lost her
dad.
Even after scoring the winning goal.
It's beautiful, it's beautiful to watch, and I've said it over and over. I'll keep saying it again. I think it's just it will just keep getting better from now on. It definitely needed time. The women's football definitely needed time to get to where it is now, but it's not going down anytime soon. Watching the games itself, this is the first time I'll say that I actually followed the Women's World Cup. It was beautiful to watch. The quality of football, even the FIFA president had said that they are not made the kind of money, the revenue.
Over $570 million.
Now, I think that it's now going back the conversation of treating women's football the same as men's football. We're getting to that point now.
That's what we want.
And I know that it took a while, but I'm happy that they're where they are at the moment. Kudos to every single person, everybody that even qualified for the World Cup in the first place. It was already a huge win for every single person that went there. So congratulations to everybody. We should see a lot of all these other players go back to their clubs and do. I think it's not just only Women's World Cup at this moment. I think we should also follow these teams, their clubs, and all that. Watch more of women's football.
Let's do that, guys.
It's really not.
It's the future.
It's not a bad idea at all. Let's move on from that. Over the weekend, also. If we go to the MLS, the very, very first time Inter in Miami, Messi has officially carried Inter Miami to the very first trophy. Now he's officially the player with the most cups ever. He's won 44 trophies. I think that we're at a point where even if you don't have to like Messi to get to a point where he is who he is.
He is who he is, and then some. And it's just the beginning for him, because this is not even the league. This is not the MLS. Yes. MLS is a tournament that they've done. So when the league really continues and they start to step up, everybody knows that Inter Miami is going to dominate.
Yeah,
it's written. It's written already. It's already written on the wall there. The handwriting is clear for everybody to see.
You can even see the players, how
Lionel Messi is not here to play.
They definitely have changed. Even the way the players play and all that is definitely, like you said, it's not here to play.
One of the best parts I saw in Inter Miami's victory was during the trophy presentation. Before the trophy presentation, Lionel Messi is the new captain. And he took the captain's armband to the former captain and gave it to him. And that one was like, no, it's fine. He said, no. You started the work, so take. And it shows you how humble the guy is. Amazing guy.
Very, very interesting game. Now, a bit of the Premier League review games that happened over the weekend. One game that everybody had, because it seemed like everybody had somebody to troll this weekend. There was Brentford had defeated Fulham 3-0. Liverpool had beat Bournemouth 3-1. Brighton defeated Wolves 4-1. Manchester City defeated Newcastle 1-0. It wasn't one game that everybody was looking forward to was Tottenham Manchester United, and Tottenham without Harry Kane defeated United 2-0. And I saw what's it called? It was some commentary, and someone had said United is the new Tottenham. I'm like, really?
For Man United, for Man United, they are still bugged by the devils that follow them. Oh, they are the Red Devils, all right, but they are bugged by the devils by following in the name of alleged devils in the name of Glazer. The Glazer family is holding that team back, and they will continue to struggle. All they do is flash 1 or 2 players for them, and they are not who they think they are.
They are not anymore.
You're not that team that was under Alex Ferguson. You're not even the team that played under Jose Mourinho. So they have a lot of spending to do. They have a lot of work to do, and they have a lot of dead wood to cut off. And Tottenham rightly deserved that victory. They deserved it. They played better than Man United. Maybe United got more this and that, but it doesn't matter. Tottenham were the best team.
Another one that people
the day.
were shocked, a little bit shocked about is Chelsea and West Ham that played yesterday. And with West Ham even getting a red card, they still defeated Chelsea 3-1. And you're wondering, after all the money that Chelsea spent in like the past few months,
Chelsea need to look at their recruitment team. You know, they've been buying players. You see, look at the
United,
irony.
you say that.
Look at the irony. For Man United, they need to buy quality. They need to buy more quality players. For Chelsea, they buy quality or otherwise. They shall buying. You know, and
it's not working.
If this is a trend that they are going to go through, they might as well just. It's early days though, but they might as well start thinking of how they're going to drop into lower tournaments. Because at this rate, I don't know. You know.
And it's still early. It's still early in the season.
I know.
It's still very, very early in the season. Monday Night Football, there's going to be Crystal Palace, Arsenal this evening for match day 2. That's where it's going to end. And on that note...
With the way Arsenal has been playing, they're going to win this one again.
There are a bit of injuries, though.
Doesn't matter. It's Arsenal.
Injuries. Anyway, on that note, that is all we take today on The Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you very, very, very much for watching. We'll be back again at 3 p.m. West African time tomorrow to give you another wonderful edition of The Bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.
Peace.